So I want to tell you about someone very special to me, my grandmother, Margaret. Margaret was born in Louisiana in 1921. She was the third of what was eventually 6 children born to my great-grandparents, Clara and Alma Stroud. When my grandmother was about 8 years old, she and the family moved to a small but booming East Texas oil community called New London, tiny little town in East Texas. It was there, at school one day, in the spring of 1937, when my grandmother was just 15 years old, that she became a survivor of the New London school explosion that killed over 300 children, faculty, and parents. Despite the horror of that event, which is, by the way, why natural gas now has an odor to it, so that we can detect leaks. It was a natural gas explosion. And despite the PTSD that she had for the rest of her life, she still went on to marry the love of her life, my grandfather Bert. They had 2 children, my Uncle Paul and my beautiful mother Billy. They traveled the world, and she was a prominent and adored member of her community. When my grandmother was 49 years old, they welcomed their first grandchild, yours truly. You didn't know. My Mima, as I called her, adored me. It turns out I was their only grandchild, so you can imagine all the spoiling that went on. My grandfather passed away when I was just 7 years old, and my grandmother never remarried, so the summers that I spent with her between school years after that were just the 2 of us. She loved to dance and sing. She loved music. She was a cut-up. We had a great time together. That love for music and singing was passed from her mother to her, through to my mother, and on to me. She inspired my love of jazz and big band music. She and I used to sing and dance around her kitchen all the time. In her later years, she suffered from Alzheimer's. But she still loved to sing and dance with me. And that's what we could do towards the end. So the song I'm singing tonight is one of her very favorites. She used to sing it to me when I was a child, and we sang it together, often in the memory care facility where she lived her last few years. I just lost her this past April. She was 96 years old. This is her scarf. I keep it as a memento. It still smells like her. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. The other night, dear, when I lay sleeping, I dreamt I held you right in my arms. When I awoke, dear, I was mistaken. You are my